Morning everyone, it's photo shoot day today. So today we're hoping to photograph the Victorian Fairytale collection, the next series of outfits in the collection, which is the Little Mermaid. If you've been following some of my other vlogs as part of this weekend, you'll know that we've had a really horrendous storm here in Whitby, well in the UK in general this weekend. So it was quite worrying, really bad storm. We didn't know really whether we were going to be able to shoot today. To be honest, at the moment I'm still not 100% sure if we're going to be able to shoot today. It is lovely, excuse me. As you can see, it is lovely and sunny out there. This is the view out of my bedroom window in the apartment that we've rented here in Whitby in the UK. Yeah, the worst of the storm has now cleared away, but it is still very windy out there. And it's also very cold. I think that sun is going to be quite deceptive. They're reckoning about 5 or 6 degrees centigrade, which is not great. So I do have some concerns, but at the moment it's dry, although there is showery rain is forecast, so we're just hoping we'll dodge the showers. Yeah, so we'll see how far we get. We're hoping, because we are going to be going down onto the beach, we're hoping due to the wind direction it might be a little bit more sheltered, but the wind has changed direction since yesterday, so could still be a tad bit breezy, and we've got some props and things that might blow away. Yeah, it should be fun. Unfortunately, we do have to try and do this today, really, because that's the whole reason we are here in Whitby for this extended period. And I've got a photographer booked as well, so it's not like we can just pop back another day to do the photos. So yeah, so I'm about to start getting ready. As you can see, I'm still in my pyjamas at the moment. It's about 20 to 9 on a Monday morning. And also we've had a busy weekend, sorry, doing the exhibition at the Whitby Steampunk weekend. So we're just having a little bit of a quiet start to the morning before it goes a bit hectic. The photographer should be getting here for about 12, and then we're hoping to head down to the beach to start shooting for about 1. We're obviously very reliant on the tides. Here the tide can come right in here at Whitby on the English coast. So there'll be like no beach later on this afternoon. So yeah, so we're hoping that we'll get a couple of hours, depending on how much we can stand the cold and the wind. But yeah, we'll do our best and see if we can get some good shots this afternoon. So yeah, I'm going to start getting ready, start putting my makeup on. Well, I say luckily, I am wearing a wig today, so I don't have to do anything with my hair, but it's hoping the wig stays on. So if you see a wig flying off into the distance this afternoon, yeah, that'll probably be captured on camera. Yeah, so what I'm hoping to do is filming a little bit of me getting ready. I'm sorry, I've not got the camera on the gimbal at the moment, so you can see my finger just poking in front of the lens there. I do apologise, so I'm just holding the camera at the moment. I was just going to do a quick bit of filming, and here I am still waffling on. Yeah, so I'm going to film a little bit of getting ready. I'm hoping to do some vlogging down on the beach, sort of during the photo shoot as well. And I have my lovely friend Julia, who hopefully will be able to do a little bit of vlogging for me as well, just so I don't have to have the camera just set up on a tripod. Although we are going to try and do an overall time lapse on my husband's camera, just to show the overall look as well. And yeah, and hopefully that will create some interesting footage for this vlog. So yeah, follow us along and let's see how we get on. So that's, well, most of my makeup done. Haven't done lipstick colour yet, just because I want to have a cup of tea before we go any further. But that's the face and eyes done, and obviously my hair is just in pigtail plaits and pinned up, ready for the wig cap to go on in a bit. And it's caked down with lots and lots of hairspray, because as soon as I step outside, all the little bits are just going to go everywhere. But yeah, so this is my mermaid look. Although, if you know a bit more about the story, about the background to my photo shoot, which I will go into a bit more detail at some point in this video, you'll know that I'm not doing classic mermaid, not classic Little Mermaid. I'm kind of basing my look a little bit more on ancient world with a kind of Atlantis theme. So I didn't necessarily want her to go completely, you know, scales and seashells and too traditional mermaid in that sense. So a little bit ancient world, a little bit, or otherworldly as well. What's a better word? Because I'm taking inspiration for the overall look very much from a Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea kind of perspective to keep it steampunk oriented. Oh, there we go. The sun's gone in a little bit there. You can see not quite so bright. So yeah. So hopefully once I get the wig and the headdress on and the complete outfit, you'll see where I'm going. Right, time for a cup of tea and a sit down before we carry on. I had found the location on the beach near Whitby about 5 years ago during a brisk seaside walk on holiday. I loved the piles of rocks draped in seaweed with their little pools, and the steps down from the promenade were also interesting with their rusty cast iron railings. As my ideas for the Little Mermaid story developed, I was very conscious that the setting was very much cliché mermaid territory. I nearly abandoned the location in favour of going to somewhere that had Greco-Roman architecture, but I realised I really wanted the drama of the sea in the background. So I hit upon the crazy idea of making fake columns after finding a tutorial linked on Pinterest about making Halloween props from pool noodles. As it turns out, pool noodles aren't very cheap in the UK in January, but you can get pipe insulation, which is exactly the same stuff. Still not particularly cheap, mind, not to mention the questioning looks from friends and family. But do you know what? They looked flipping epic, even if the paint was flaking off and we had to transport them wrapped in blankets to protect them. In fact, photographer Neal thought they were so good, he asked to take them away for future photography projects, and it meant we didn't have to transport them home.
couldn't choose a warm day.
For the character of Captain Ericsson, I was inspired by Victorian military styles. Rather than a prince, like in the classic story, I made him a submarine captain along the lines of Captain Nemo. I imagined the submarine to be quite plush, like the Nautilus in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, with well-appointed cabins suited to transporting the ambassador of Atlantis to London. I already had the red military sash, but decided that would be the only use of this colour, much like the red wig on the other outfit. I used a heavy blue wool for the trousers and matched it to a blue silk for the collar and cuffs. The stylized kraken embroidery motif was the perfect insignia for the naval subaquatic fleet I envisioned in my story. I used gold braid to create frogging and knotwork buttons, again adding to the naval feel, but the tunic also has hooks and eyes to secure it closed. The cap was a lucky late find, a couple of weeks before the shoot. It is actually a Scottish officer's cap, although I'm not sure which regiment, but it was the perfect shade of blue. I was desperately trying to avoid a cruise line feel or a cheap fancy dress hat kind of look.
So we've started the photo shoot. I'm just going to get changed. I hope you can hear this over the wind because it's really cold and windy down here. We had a lovely sunshine earlier, but we're hoping that's going to skip us by because that doesn't look very promising. Uh-oh.
Nice and stormy.
Yeah.
Good, isn't it?
Really good, thank you. He'll be worth it.
This is going to be the best video. Do you need help, Joe? Is that a yes?
On there.
Which bit? Are you alright? And she emerges from her chrysalis, reborn.
I missed so much of my makeup. But is it still? It's okay?
Alright. The best part about this is just as you were doing that, Scott had the telescope out pointed in your direction. That'd be fun stepping into that in the wind. Oh, that's rainy. It'll be alright, it'll be alright.
I love the jiggy up and down.
Glamorous side finish.
Neil says the fashion industry is the glamorous.
The best part is random strangers keep stopping to watch.
I know.
Yeah.
Hi, random strangers. The hazards of photo shoots. Dogs. Right, you ready to run out the way, Dad? Go for it. Just keep going. Nice choice, Joe. Right. Joe, scoot forward a bit. Scoot forward a little. Hold up. Can I just nudge this foot back just a tiny bit because it's just covering your eyes? Just a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah. So what jewellery did you want?
The two necklaces and that.
Where are the seat?
Do you want to get rid of it?
Forward. Actually, because the tide's coming, you've got those waves just behind her. It looks amazing.
Cameras in shot. Stop off.
About to say, put your hands on that.
Stunning.
Yeah, they do. They do look amazing.
Make this a free for your arm. It is working. Hello, God. Go on. Ready? That's it, perfect. Right, get some photos there.
I was about to say, I think now is the perfect time for photos. How are you feeling, Joe?
Cold. But I'm
Whose
still
idea was
like,
this?
I let the winds die. 5 minutes.
Go get some waves.
For the Little Mermaid character, I was desperately trying to avoid the cliché look, yet still obviously be the Little Mermaid. Inspiration actually struck while watching the movie Aquaman and realising the Mermaid meets Atlantis style was the ideal theme and worked perfectly in a 20,000 Leagues Nautilus steampunk concept too. It's funny how suddenly an idea falls into place. I had bought the amazing scale effect fabric several years ago with the view to doing a mermaid outfit for Victorian Fairytale. Very early on in the design phase, I had decided on a fishtail skirt and corset. The fabrics for the train were all leftover remnants in my stash. I had the idea that the fabric would go further and look more interesting if I cut it all into strips in a seaweed kind of effect. I rolled hemmed both edges of every single strip to create a ruffly effect and give the strips body once they were mounted on the skirt. It took days and days to do this part alone, but I think the effect was worth it in the end. Originally, the dress wasn't going to be made to fit me, but partway through constructing the corset, I decided life was too short, and if I was putting all this work in, I might as well make it for me and not my mannequin. So I had to take in the skirt and adjust the corset to fit me better. I did this while on light sewing duties recuperating from an operation last summer. The look really started to come together with the accessories. I really tried to avoid too much use of seashells, but with the Atlantean theme I started to develop an ancient world aesthetic. Pearls featured heavily as an elegant alternative to shells. I knew I wanted to incorporate repurposed cutlery into the jewellery. Aside from the obvious Little Mermaid connection to dingle hoppers, forks in particular work particularly well as a symbol of the trident of the great sea god Poseidon. I felt that an ancient civilization so closely associated with the sea would definitely connect with a deity like Poseidon. I found the amazing repurposed fork pendant in the Etsy shop called By Callie, and there's a link in the description down below. I then scoured local charity shops for jewellery to incorporate it into. I found strings of pearls, sea glass beads and tarnished Victorian-style pieces set with mother of pearl. The amazing headdress is by Diamante Queen Designs, and again there's a link in the description down below. I thought the ambassador of Atlantis was the perfect character to wear a big, over-the-top headdress. When I gave Heather my brief, I'm surprised she didn't run a mile. I asked for a mermaid headdress, but not too stereotypically mermaid, and can you incorporate cutlery into it? The cutlery is actually painted disposable plastic cutlery that when heated up, the tines of the forks curled up perfectly.
Wait, get 250 quid out of that video.
Shoes, petticoat, this.
Hi everyone, so it's the morning after the shoot. We did the shoot yesterday, so I just wanted to pop on and just to round up, finish up the vlog for you guys. You will have obviously seen all the footage of us on the beach from yesterday. Thank you to my wonderful cameraman, Julia, aka Alice's Night Circus. If you'd like to go check her channel out, I'm sure she would appreciate that. Yeah, so we got some great footage on the beach yesterday. We got some great photos as well. Although obviously at this stage, obviously this is just the next day, I've not seen anything other than the sort of a few rough images just kind of on the back of the camera. So my photographer did send me just a few very rough edits across last night. So I've seen a little bit of what we managed to achieve, and they look absolutely amazing, so I'm really pleased with how things turned out. After I've finished speaking here, I will pop a few of the final edits on the end of this video for you, but if you'd like to be the first, well, no, you won't be the first because this is going to go out after, yeah. If you'd like to see more of the images, please follow me on Instagram at Jo Blue Lady Couture. I'm also on Facebook, Blue Lady Couture as well, and I'm also on Pinterest. So yeah, so if you want to see some of the photographs in more detail, head on to my other social media accounts to see them. Yeah, how could I sum up yesterday? Where do I start? Because it was pretty crazy. Yeah, well, it was always going to be a little bit of a risk doing a photo shoot on the beach in Whitby in February, but if this is the UK, so to be honest, we've had days in August where it could be freezing cold on the beach in the UK, so you know, it was just one of those things, and it was just, the timing was right. We had the time available to get it done, and I needed to get them done because these outfits have been done for a little while now, so I really need to get them photographed to add to the rest of the photographic collection for Victorian Fairytale. So yeah, so I am glad we did it, but obviously we just couldn't have timed it worse with the arrival of this Storm Kira, which has absolutely battered the UK this weekend. Luckily we managed to catch it on a bit of a break where the worst of the weather had moved away, thankfully, so it was almost dry enough that, you know, we could get down onto the beach. I mean, it was very windy and it was very, very cold, yeah, we did get a little bit of rain just as I kind of put my outfit on. It did rain, and we had a little bit of hail as well. So yeah, so there was some of the first shots, literally the front of my dress is just plastered with water and rain spots, but you know, we're on the beach, so I wasn't worried about the dress. The dress will dry and it can be cleaned, so it was more about just getting those amazing shots on the amazing background. My pillow props were amazing, if I do say so myself. It was one of those ideas where this is either going to look really good or it's going to look absolutely naff. And thankfully, after the sort of the time and the money that I'd put into making the pillow props, they actually worked really well, and they worked so well in fact that my photographer asked if he could take them away for another project that he's working on. I was like, yeah, please go for it, because I don't really want to have to take them back again. Because they just, well, you've probably seen in the footage, they just got chucked about. They were blowing away in the wind, they were rolling down the beach at one point, and they were floating off as the tide came in. It was hilarious. You know, if nothing else, we did have fun, she said. But yeah, it was very, very, very cold. So I'm really, really grateful to my team of intrepid helpers for their support yesterday, because we wouldn't have been able to manage just, you know, on our own. By the time I actually got that dress on and the wig on and the headdress on, there wasn't really a lot I could do other than just stand there wrapped in tons and tons and tons of blankets. And yeah, that image has been plastered all over the social media channels of my friends and my photographer. But you know, sometimes you have to do these things to get the right images. You know, we could have just gone to a studio and superimposed it, but you just wouldn't have got the, I don't know, there was something about the lighting on the beach and just the atmosphere, you know, the waves behind you and the wind. It was just, yeah, it just worked. So I am, yeah, really, really pleased with how it turned out. So yeah, so I mean that pretty much wraps up the vlog for the behind the scenes of the Little Mermaid shoot. You can probably see behind me, this is our bedroom at our apartment in lovely Whitby, and we are all packed up to head home today, back to normality tomorrow, back to the sewing machine with the next projects. We are just heading out, we've got to be at the apartment for 10 o'clock, so we're just doing the final packing up, and I just thought I'd just quickly jump on because I forgot to do this last night and I was so tired last night, because when you get cold you just get tired, exhausted, and I did get really, really cold. I was really at my limits of how cold it could be. I mean, I think the temperature was about 5 or 6 degrees centigrade, and then with the wind chill as well, it was, yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing a shoot like that, you know, just for, I was probably, you know, I had my coat on and off, but yeah, probably, you know, and I think we did that whole thing in less than an hour, I think. So yeah, if you are thinking of doing a shoot like that, please do be extra careful. Have people around you who can say, look, I think you need to stop now, because you do get into that mindset where you're just like, let's keep going, let's photograph, let's do this angle, do that angle, do this, do that, you know, do that location over there. Because you want to try and get as much out of that small window of time as you can, and then obviously when the weather's not in your favour like that, it, you know, obviously it can be very dangerous. So yeah, so just to reiterate, we did take lots of coats and blankets. I took an insulated cool bag, but I put hot water bottles in it, so that obviously that would keep them warm, so that we could, you'll see in the video, you know, swapping in and out the hot water bottles. We did also take flasks with hot water in to make hot drinks, but because of how quickly the tide had come in and we were losing the location, and obviously the weather had sort of turned, we didn't stop to, you know, have any hot drinks. If the weather had been a bit nicer and calmer and not quite so windy, we probably could have spent a little bit more time, you know, just have a break between sort of setups, and sort of warm ourselves through with hot drinks. So yeah, you know, as you probably saw underneath my dress, I kind of kept, I had a pair of tights on, a pair of leggings, pair of socks, my big my walking boots, and I kept my skirt on as well. So yeah, it was the sort of the top half of me that was coldest. And obviously my hubby, luckily his outfit had lovely warm wool trousers, which was yeah, a bonus for him. But obviously, you know, still it's, yeah, lots of layers to keep warm. So yeah, that kind of really, yeah, sums up this vlog. So thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my behind the scenes of what goes into one of my photo shoots. If you've seen some of my other photo shoot behind the scenes, you'll know I do have a bit of a penchant for yeah, this week in particular, actually, and the 14th of February, which is in a couple of days' time, is the anniversary of when we did the original Snow Queen shoot, which again was freezing cold and icy, and yeah, so if you want to check that video out, do go have a look. In fact, I might link it in the description box down below. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the vlog. Now I've said that about 1 million times already in this section, but yeah, I am going to go away now, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the little pictures that are going to follow after this. And yeah, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to know when I put my next videos up. And I will hopefully see you in the next one. Take care, bye.
Following the discovery of the ancient city of Atlantis in 1889 by the esteemed explorer Captain Ericsson of Her Majesty's subaquatic fleet, the Atlanteans sent an envoy of diplomats and scientists back to London to negotiate treaties and exchanges of technology. The London press dubbed the Atlantean ambassador the Little Mermaid, for such she did almost look in her sea silk gown that hugged the figure, trailing kelp and gleaming pearls. They marvelled at how sunken treasures from wrecked ships had become as precious as the most prized jewel. The Atlanteans worshipped the old gods, and twisted silver forks scattered on the seabed symbolised a gift from the great sea god Poseidon.